It was taught in Yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel. Yotzei the Mitfilim Be'erev Shabbos Simcha Shecha. They said that you're allowed to wear tefillin. It's machlekes in the Rishonim if it means to wear or to carry outside. You're allowed to go outside, let's just say, with tefillin on Erev Shabbos before it gets dark. And there's not a concern that we had with the other cases of the tailor that goes out with his things, or the sefer that goes out with his kolmas. We don't have that concern. In my time, what's the reason why we don't have that concern that he's going to forget? So the Gemara answers, given the Rabbi Baravuna, because Rabbi Baravuna says, because a person is obligated to adjust his tefillin at every moment, kal v'chomer mitzitz, as we have a kal v'chomer from the tzitz. The tzitz is the plate that went on the Kohen Gadol's forehead. Matzit shem bayolas karachas, just like the tzitz. The tzitz only has one name of Hashem. It said Kodesh La Hashem on it. So it says Hashem, the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. It said it on it once. Amra Torah v'yam, it's chaytamid that it should be always on his head, on his forehead, constantly. What does that mean? This tamid means that he shouldn't take his mind off his tefillin. So if that's the case, tefillin sheyesh bayaskaras harbe, the tefillin that has many names of Hashem inside the tefillin, in the scrolls that are in the tefillin. Allah has come for sure. He always has to make sure that has his mind concentrated on his tefillin. So hilkach midkadachalo. So he's definitely going to remember that he has the tefillin, and he's not going to forget about them and wear them or take them off on Shabbos. The Rishonim have a big problem with this Gemara. Like, what's the big deal? If he's going to wear the tefillin, let's say, on Erev Shabbos, and let's say he does forget, so what's going to happen? He's going to wear them on Shabbos. So what's the problem? Maybe it's not considered wearing. In Rosh Hashanah, it's not considered a malbush. So what's going to happen? It's going to be like an Issa Derabanan. Is it going to be mamish carrying deraisa? We said before we had a machlekes, Abai and Rava, if you make a gzeira l'gzeira. Abai said yes, about a carmelis. Is there a concern? We wanted to discuss if he carries it, shlei b'derech haitzah, if he carries his needle in his lapel. So over here, what's going to happen? He's going to wear it, and it's going to be a derabanan, and you're going to make a gzeira. It should be a machlekes Abai and Rava anyway. Now, if you learn that this has to do with, it's a din in Hilchas Tefillin, not a din in Hilchas Shabbos, it becomes interesting. You're not supposed to wear tefillin on Shabbos. He's allowed to wear it on Erev Shabbos. We're not concerned that he's going to forget and continue wearing it on Shabbos. Nothing to do with Eitzah. I don't know if that's the case. What does the art school say? What do they learn? That the issue is that he may end up taking it off on Shabbos and carrying it, or he may end up just wearing it on Shabbos. If you learn that he may remember, oh, it's Shabbos, and he'll take it off and carry it, then that's a real Issa Daraisa. If that's the pshat, then the Gemara is clear. Okay. Tanya, Chananya Omer. Chananya is important in Shabbos. We'll have it in the third parak. Chayvan l'mashish big day of Shabbos Simcha Shecha. We have a brisa that Chananya says that a person has to check his clothing Erev Shabbos before it gets dark, just to make sure that there's nothing that's in the pockets or attached to it. Amar Rav Yosef, Hilchasa Rabsi l'Shabsa. That is an important halacha of Hilchas Shabbos because it can save him from prohibitions if he checks his clothing. Okay. Tashma. I'm sorry. Hilchas Rabsi l'Shabsa is Lo Yifales Caleb. Okay, the Mishnah was a little bit unclear because the Mishnah said that you should not, I don't know the word that they use in English, you should not remove the lice from his clothing. The way the Mishnah put it was two things, one next to another. He shouldn't remove the lice from his clothing, and he shouldn't read to the light of a candle. That's what we learned. Gemara is not clear. Doesn't mean he shouldn't remove the lice from his clothing at all. And he shouldn't read to the light of a candle. That means at night, because if it's dark, you need candlelight. But removing the lice was anytime on Shabbos, the whole day. Or does it mean don't remove the lice to the light of a candle, which means at night, and don't read to the light of a candle? The Gemara has this question. They had a question. Never on Shabbos should you check your garments for lice, whether it's at night or during the day. It has nothing to do with candlelight. It has to do with you might end up killing the lice, the louse that you found. Rabbi Eliezer, and this is the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya Amar Rabbi Eliezer says, killing a louse on Shabbos is like killing a camel on Shabbos. You know, what's the difference in size? You're not allowed to kill a camel. You're not allowed to kill anything on Shabbos. So this would be the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. We're going to see later that it's the opinion of Beishamai. Rabbi Eliezer follows Beishamai. But our problem here is that you're not allowed to check your garments if they have a louse, because you might end up killing it. And then it says, and at night, don't read to the light of the candle, because you might end up adjusting the candle, the lamp, the oil lamp. That's one pshat. Or maybe the pshat's different. Tarvayu, both reading to the light of the candle and checking for lice is both by night, shemayata. Maybe you're going to end up adjusting the lamp, and it's only a problem by night. But by day, there's no problem of checking the garment if it has lice on it. Tashima. So come and listen. Ein poilin is to check for lice. Vein karin la'araner. And you can't read to the light of the candle. We have a brisa that says ein poilin vein karin la'araner. You can't check for lice, and you can't read to the light of the candle. It must mean that the problem of checking lice is to the light of the candle. The Gemara says, "Mi alim masnisin." What are you gaining over here? The Mishnah said the same thing. Ein poilin liyafales kelov likulaner. So you quote the same thing from a brisa, and you think you have a proof now. The same question you had on the Mishnah, you have on the brisa. Maybe ein poilin means you're never allowed to, and there's a big period there. Vein karin la'araner, sentence number 2, and you're not allowed to read to the light of the candle. It's nothing to do with checking for lice. Okay, Tashima, here's a better source. Ein poilin la'araner, here we have it. Don't check for lice, or clean off the lice, to the light of the candle. Vein karin la'araner. Very good. So we know what the issue is. By day, there's no problem. It's only to the light of the candle. You might adjust the candle. There's no problem with taking off the lice. Maybe you'll kill it. Maybe there's no problem with killing lice on Shabbos. We'll see. And it says, Eily min halachas she'amar balias Chananya ben Chizkiya ben Gurion. We're going to have later. It says, we're going to have this Mishnah that says we have these halachas that were said in the attic of Chananya ben Chizkiya ben Gurion. When the Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel came up to visit him, we have a bunch of halachas that were taught over there, that were passed in there. So this is one of those halachas. Shema mina de tarvayu shemayata. Shema mina. We see from here that both reading and checking for lice, the light of the candle is a concern that you might adjust the lamp. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, you shouldn't even use the candle to check between if it's your shirt, your garment, or your wife's garment. And apparently their clothing was similar enough that you needed a candlelight to be able to check which one it was. They both wore the similar type clothing. It must have been like a long gown or something. So Amar Rava, Lo Yamanal b'nei Mechuzah. Rabbi says that's only for the people of Mechuzah. Apparently, the people of Mechuzah were wealthy and they didn't really work a lot. So they did not need work clothes. So they wore like household clothes that the wife wore and that the husband wore, the men wore. Aval the bnei chaklisa, but the people that live that work in the field, like chakal, the orchard or the field, made the yada. Them you can tell right away, and that's not a problem to use. You don't have to go close to the candle to check. You can tell right away what clothes. But the bnei mechuzah namila yamarnella there's a kenes. And also, it's only the older people of Bnei Mechuzah, maybe they were retired. Aval the Yaldis made the idea, but the younger people, you can tell. Apparently, it was very wide. The girls' clothes was very wide, and therefore the men's clothes was not so similar to them. Rashi says the people that worked in their field, they had shorter clothes. Maybe they had like short sleeves or something, or short pants. Or maybe it was tighter, because when you're working, you don't want your sleeves or whatever to get stuck in things. So they had more tighter clothing, work clothes. Taner Rabbanan. Started in the Brisa. Don't check for lice in a public area, because people that are looking at you could be disgusted. They'll say, "Oh, chalaus," and they'll even though it was common, but nevertheless, it's not something that just because it's common doesn't mean that you do that in public. Okay. Amar, this has nothing to do with Shabbos, by the way. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Vamilo Reb Nechemia. This is a brisa, so we have Tanoim here, Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Nechemia. They both say, once it's either one or the other. Ein oisin apiktavazin b'shas Rab Yaakov. Apiktavazin was some sort of way of getting someone to vomit. You don't do that in the street. It's not. It can cause someone to be disgusted. Taner Rabbanan, hamefales kelav, someone that is cleaning out his clothing from lice. We're talking about now on Shabbos. Moilel means he takes the louse and he rolls it in his fingers, so that it will be a little bit not strong enough to get back onto his clothing. So like you agitate it or something, and then it can't really get itself back to jump back to his clothing. The zayrik, and you throw it away. But you don't kill it. Abishal says, Noitel v'zayrik, you just take it off and throw it away. But you can't roll it. Okay, so there's a machlekes here about rolling it if it's the concern that if there's a concern that you may end up killing it. Amar Rav Huna says, this is a Tanakama and Abishal, those are Tanoim. Rav Huna is an Amayra that comes along as a student of Rav. He says, Halacha mailel v'zayrik v'zeu kvaydei v'afilu b'chal. The halacha is that you're allowed to roll it, the louse, and throw it away. And this is considered respectful, even what does it mean, afilu b'chal? What the pshat over here? What does it mean afilu b'chal? Should be afilu b'Shabbos. Anyone see over there what it says?
It says in the article, it says Shabbos.
So what does the Gemara say? Vafilu b'chal, even in the weekday. So kvoide afilu b'chal. What does he mean to say? That you don't kill it? Specifically, you don't kill it?
It's a more respectful way. He says a more respectful way to remove them.
Oh, instead of then squishing it, instead of then killing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. The Gemara says stories. Rabbi mekateya. Rabbi would, mekateya means would kill it, mamish. I guess like cut off the head. I don't know what exactly. Rav Sheshes mekateya. Rav Sheshes would as well. Rava shadilu lekana demaya. Rava would just throw it into a bucket of water. Amar lahu Rav Nachman lebinse. Rav Nachman said to his daughters, K'toilen, kill them. Bashminan likala desanvasi. I want to hear the sound of my enemies. I guess he really didn't like the lice. And he wanted them to kill it 100%. Tanya, starting a brisa. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, student of Reb Meir, he says, "Ein hargan samachilis b'Shabbos." You're not allowed to kill a louse on Shabbos. Machilis is a louse. Divri b'Shamai. That's the opinion of Beishamai. Beisil Matim. Beisil says you're allowed to. Now the reason for this, Dr. Stein, has to do with the way the lice are made, if they come from a male and female, or if they're spontaneous generated. So if they come from the human flesh. So Basil holds that it's not considered, whatever the way you want to explain it, that it doesn't come from a male and female, and therefore it's not considered real life. It's just spontaneously generated. We go back. He says that you're not allowed to. Mishum Reb Shimon ben Gamliel ein meshatchin asatinoikes la'aris. You don't make a shidduch on Shabbos between a young girl and the Erison. And you also don't arrange a child to teach to study in a certain with a certain malamed, or to teach him a trade. So you don't hire a teacher for him, whether it's Torah or a trade. You don't visit. You don't comfort the mourners. You also don't visit the sick. All of that is the words of Beishamai. Basil Matirin. Basil allows all of it. Why does Basil allow all of this? Basil holds that it says that only chafetzecha is forbidden, but cheftzei shemayim, things that are involved with a mitzvah, that you're allowed to discuss and arrange on Shabbos. So you're allowed to arrange the yeshiva, and you're allowed to arrange a shidduch, and you're allowed to visit, comfort the mourners, and you're allowed to visit the sick. The Rambam writes on Yom Tov, they would leave what would happen when they leave the shul? On the way home, they would comfort the mourners and visit the sick. Even though we have other Gemaras that say that you don't do that. But based on this, Basil Matirin. Okay. I saw one of the books, I forget the name of it, the Chabad book on science. It said, there's different ways of explaining the spontaneous generation. Rabbi Dessler, in his Michtav Melio, that it's called Strive for Truth in English. He writes there that even though it's clearly not spontaneously generated, but because it's so small, the Chazal doesn't consider it to be procreated by a male and female because of its size, and that would be the machlekes. If the size of it is affects the way Chazal view it. The Rebbe said that although I forget who did all the experiments, Pasteur, I did the experiments. Although he never found spontaneous generation in his experiments, he did the, what is that, a tube, and he left it, and he had like a water lock or something, so no bacteria could get in, and he didn't find anything, any life in it. So that proved that there's no spontaneous generation. But in this book, they're quoting the Rabbi saying that doesn't prove that there's no spontaneous generation. It just proves that he never found it. Which whatever. I don't know. Scientifically, that's correct. It does not prove that there's no spontaneous generation. Just everything that they thought it didn't occur. So, okay, yeah. What do you say?
What you said about the opinion that Chazal said, if it's so small you can't see it,
right?
They just discount it. Isn't that the same thing when it comes to scales, like on eels? That's why eels that have a kaskeset, forget about snap pier, because remember there's a common kosher yeshlo snap kaske yeshlo snap pier, but whatever it is. But those aren't scales that Chazal refer to because they're too small, microscopic.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Could be something along those lines. Okay. Taner Rabbanan. Bryce taught Hanichnas Levaker Sachela. Did I skip any Taisus in here? Yeah, there's a discussion in Taisus, the difference between a Kina, Machelas, and a Parish, okay? Okay. Taner Rabbanan was taught in a Bryce. Hanichnas Levaker Sachela. Someone that comes to visit the sick on Shabbos. So what does he do? It says, Aimer, he should say, maybe it's supposed to be the other way. But Shabbos, Aimer, on Shabbos he says, it says Shabbos, it's Shabbos, and therefore Melizik, that's why he's refraining from crying out, from davening for him. But the healing is swift to come. Now, you could also read it, Shabbos Melizik. Shabbos means we're required to rest from calling out. Shabbos Melizik. It's Shabbos I have to rest, I have to refrain from crying out, from davening. So this is like, what do they say? Nitev Shabbos, correct. But, so we're not going to say on Shabbos we don't cry out, but the healing is coming. Shabbos itself is able to have compassion, and the person should be healed. Will be healed just from Shabbos. In other words, the fact that we're not davening is the zchus that it should heal the sick person. Okay, we're on top of Yud Beis and Mid Beis. Rabbi Yehuda says that what should you say when you visit the sick? Hamakim Yerachim Alecha V'al Chayli Yisrael. Hashem should have compassion on you and the sick people of Israel. Rabbi Yossi Eimer Hamakim Yerachim Alecha B'toy Chayli Yisrael. Hashem should have compassion on you amongst the sick of Israel. Okay. It's a very interesting taste here. Chaim, you'd appreciate this. The Gemara Rosh Hashanah discusses what's determined on Rosh Hashanah. Over there's a machlekes, if the Gzardin, if that's everything. The Gemara then asks, so why do we daven every day if everything is already determined? It says, there's another opinion that says that things are determined not on Rosh Hashanah. And then the Gemara gives another answer that nevertheless davening still helps. But the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi over there in Masechet Rosh Hashanah was that it was determined already on Rosh Hashanah. So Taisus asks, according to these two opinions, why is he saying Amakim Yerachim Alecha? Taisus answers a very surprising answer. You see that? Taisus answers that it's the Shabbos in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Unbelievable. Then Taisus gives another answer that it's going according to Rabbi Yitzchak that says, nevertheless, even though there's Exaidin, but the crying can change it. Okay. Shevna is Yerushalayim. Shevna was an important person. He is a man of Yerushalayim. He says the following: when he comes in, he says Shalom. When he leaves, he says Shabbos imelizik refu krei v'lavei. Shabbos from crying out, but the healing is coming, quick to come. V'racham of merubim. Hashem's compassion is great. V'shivsu b'shalom, and you should rest, or you should relax in peace on Shabbos. Taisus here is concerned that the name Shevna was the name of a wicked person. And how could it be Shevna? It must mean that the name is Shachna. It can't be Shevna. V'nir l'ri, Taisus says, what's the problem? There was a person Shevna that was wicked. So what? Taisus says, someone's called Avram, and that it was and he was a bad guy. So no one else is called Avram. What's the problem? Okay. V'amar, I'm sorry. Come on, Osla. Like whom does it go? Hadam Rab Chanina. This that Rab Chanina says, Mishesh l'chela b'teich beisai, that someone that has a sick person in his house, tzarich shi'ar ben b'teich Eily Yisrael, that when he davens for him, he shouldn't just daven for this one individual. He should daven as including him b'teich shar Eily Yisrael. Like whom does this go? Come on, Rabbi Yosi. It goes like Rabbi Yosi. And you notice Rabbi Yosi says, Hamakim Yerachim Alecha b'toich Eily Yisrael. You get the benefit of the zchus of all of the Eily Yisrael, and you include this when you include this person together with everyone else. That's the way. That's what we say b'toich shar Eily Yisrael. V'amar Rabbi Chanina, b'kushi yitir lenachem avelim alevakar chelim b'Shabbos. Rabbi Chanina says that it wasn't so simple. They allowed it, but it wasn't so simple to comfort the mourners and visit the sick on Shabbos. The reason is because it causes a grief, maybe to the person that you're visiting. Ultimately, you cause comfort, but maybe you remind them of things or something. And the person visiting is probably that's the visitor has pain. Amar Rabba bar bar Chana ki Abelzin basreder Rabbi Lozer l'shiyulei b'tficha. Rabba bar bar Chana was in Eretz Yisrael, probably in Tveria, and he said he was following Rabbi Lozer. That's Rabbi Lozer ben Pedas. That's a student of Rabbi Yochanan. He said he was following him to visit or to the sick, or to daven for the sick. Zimnin amar hamakim yipadcha l'shalom. Zimnin amar rachmana yatkirnach l'shalom. Sometimes he would say Hashem should remember you in peace. Sometimes he would say Hashem should remember you in peace. Different types of remembering. The Gemara asks, how was he allowed to daven like that? From Rav Yehuda says, no, you're not supposed to daven in Aramaic. There's a problem. And he's saying these are Aramaic terms. Well, Yipaktach is actually Hebrew. But Yad Kirnach is Aramaic. The problem is sometimes he would say Yad Kirnach, Yid Karinach. Sometimes he would say it like that. Ve'amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol Hashel Tzracha B'Lashon Arami and Malach Yasharas Niskaken Lai. If you daven in Aramaic, the angels don't listen. Shem Malach Yasharas Makirim B'Lashon Arami. They don't understand Aramaic, the angels, so they only speak Yiddish. So no, they speak the other languages, but not Aramaic. So So you're not supposed to daven because the angels bring the prayers up to heaven, and it's better if they understand it. Taisus asks over here. He says, except for Gabriel, the Gemara says that Gabriel came to Yosef and taught him the 70 languages. Obviously, Aramaic was one of them. Taisus just is very surprised. He says, doesn't get it. They understand the thoughts of a person's heart, and they don't understand Aramaic. What language is he thinking in his heart? They understand everything that a person's thinking. And it's just a surprising thing. He says, V'tema. Okay, so the Gemara answers, Shani Chayla the Shchinim. Yeah, it's different. Over there, you don't need the angels, because the Shechin is together with the Chayla. You can daven straight. You don't need the angels' assistance to bring the prayers up. This is quoted in Shir Shmitzvah Tefillah. The Tzemach Tzedek discusses this. How do you know that the Shechina, this is Rav Anan saying the name of Rav, how do you know that the Shechina supports the sick person? Hashem supports him on the sick bed. Eres is a bed and Tevay is sick. Tanya Nami Hachi was also taught in the Braisa. If someone enters to visit the sick, so Lo Yeshev Leil Gabi Mita, you shouldn't sit on the bed, on the bed of the sick person. Leil Gabi Kisei, not on a chair. Ela Mesatif, you should be wrapped, be Yeshev Lefanav, and sit in front of him. Because the Shechin is above his head. In other words, you have to have respect in that place. You should be wrapped, dressed properly with the hat or with the talis over the head, because the Shechin is there. You see, Hashem supports him on the sick bed. You know that Hashem sustains the sick person. Hashem supports the sick bed. Rashi quotes Rabbi Yaakov that instead of Yisadeno, it's Yisareno, and it means he remembers him or visits him. Paiked, he says the Targum shel Paiked is Sayer. Paiked is to remember, to visit. I don't know if Rashi means he's changing that he had a different text of the Tehillim, or if he means that it's just it's darshan differently. Taisa says when it says not to sit on the bed, it means that he's sitting there. He's sitting, but you shouldn't sit above, higher than the chayla. Okay. It says you shouldn't read to the light of the candle. Amar Rabba. Rabbi says even if the candle is 2 times his height. Yitzi. We're holding on 12b in the middle. Even if the candle is 2 times his height, he is still not supposed to read to the light of the candle. Why? Because if they make a gzeira, how you're supposed to do it, they don't say, oh, in this case it's different, in this case it's different. They set a decree, and that's how it's kept. You shouldn't read to the light of the candle, even if you can't reach the candle. Even if it's mardas, a mardeya is something that's used to keep the animal going straight. It's some sort of stick. Even if you have 10 houses, an apartment building, one on top of another, you're not supposed, and the candle is on the bottom, or the candle is on the top, you can't read to that candle, to the light of that candle. The Gemara says, it's only if there's one person there. If there's 2 people there, it's not a problem to read. They'll remind each other. Don't adjust the lamp. So the problem is, Vahatanya was taught in a Brisa, La Yachad B'lei Shnayim. Doesn't matter. One person, two people, you shouldn't read to the light of the, even if it's two people, you can't read to the light of the lamp. Rabbi Lazar says, this was the Rabbi Lazar that we had before, when Rabbi Barbachana said he followed him. He says, like Kasha, it's not a problem. The Brisa and the statement of Rabbah that says that says if it's two people, it's allowed. Because kan ben yinechad, kan b'shnei inyanim. Depends. If they're reading the same thing, then they'll remind each other because they're involved together. It's like they're learning b'chavrusa. But if they're each reading different things, then each one is involved. They don't notice what's going on. The old comedies had a cup. They didn't realize two people doing two different things, and each one would take a sip and put it down, and the other guy would take his sip, and they didn't realize that they're just involved in their own things. They don't. Okay. Amar Rav Huna, Medura, if it's a big fire, not just the lamp, so we have logs of wood that are sticking out and all of that. Even if it's 10 people, it's forbidden. Why? Because you don't notice, everyone has to sit a little bit away from each other. You don't notice what everyone else is doing. And it could be that there's a log of wood that's stretching out towards someone's foot and the person is adjusting the wood and the other people don't see. Good morning, Jeff. We're holding 12b. A little over halfway down. Amar Rava says, Im Adam Chashavu, then it's mutter. An Adam Chashav, an important person that has servants and different things, that he never actually adjusts the flame himself. So he's allowed to read to the light of a candle because he doesn't touch anything. Everyone does everything for him, all his servants. So we're not concerned on Shabbos. He's going to adjust the flame to be able to read better. Meisvei, the Gemara says, La Yikra, the Yara Ner Shemayata. You can't read to the light of the candle. Maybe you'll adjust it. I'm Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha. Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha says, Ani Yekrav Layata. Nah, I can handle this. I'm going to be able to. Shmuel ben Elisha was the Kohen Gadol. Or it's his grandson that's a friend of Rabbi Akiva. The children of Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha, the son and daughter were taken captive. That's what we read about on Kinnis. They were put in a room together. He says, it's not going to be a problem. However, Pamachas Kara Bikish Lahatis, one time he was reading to the light of the candle, and he attempted to adjust the candle, like he reached out. Amar Kama Gedolim Divrei Chachamim. How great are the words of the sages? Shayoimim, they said, don't read to the light of the candle. Reb Nassan says, Kara V'hita. Reb Nassan says, no, it wasn't just he attempted. He actually did adjust the candle. It's Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha. V'kasav al pinkasa, and he wrote on his ledger and his notebook, Ani Yishmael ben Elisha. Yishmael ben Elisha, Karisi, I read V'tesi, Ner b'Shabbos, and I adjusted the candle on Shabbos. L'kashibana Beis HaMikdash, when the Beis HaMikdash is built, Avichat Shmein, I'll bring a fat chatas for his sin that he adjusted the candle on Shabbos. Problem is that Yishmael ben Elisha was an important person. We said that an important person is allowed to read to the light of the candle. He says, here we see that you're not allowed to. Amar Abba. Rabbi says, Shani Yishmael ben Elisha Hayel U'Meis Matzmal Divrei Torah Kehadiyat. When it comes to Divrei Torah, when he was learning, so he considered himself like a simple person, and he would do everything himself. So that's why it was a problem. Yishmael ben Elisha, he didn't take honor for himself when it came to studying Torah. So he would adjust the candle himself. Now, Tosfos here is concerned about how could a mistake like this happen to a tzaddik? And he quotes different things. One of the Gemara of like Chamer Pinchas Ben Yair, that the donkey of Pinchas Ben Yair wouldn't eat grain that wasn't meiser, wasn't. I know tzaddik is going to make a mistake like that. So it has to do with certain things that are totally forbidden. If it's food items that he's not going to eat, he's going to ingest absolutely forbidden food, so that doesn't happen to a tzaddik. But other mistakes are possible. Tani Chada, one brisa taught, Shamish Baidik Kaisis Sukaris Laraner, says that a shamish, a servant, is allowed to check if the cups are clean, cups and plates are clean, to the light of the candle, washing the dishes Friday night. Tani Yidach, the other brisa says, La Yivdik, you should not use the light of a candle to check. Gemara says, Leikash, it's not a question. Kam b'shamish kavua, kam b'shamish sheina kavua. Depends. If it's a servant that's established that always works for you, then he's allowed to. Then he's not allowed to. Why not? Because he wants to get it very, very clean. Because he's coming back tomorrow. And if you have any complaints, you're going to fire him, whatever. Shamish sheina kavua, it's like Erev Pesach, you get extra help. They're never coming back again. They don't care if they do a good job. They don't do a good job. It's like a one-time arrangement. So they don't care. They're not going to check anyways very well to the light of the candle. They're not going to adjust the candle. That's, unfortunately the case. Another teretz. No, it could both be a shamish kavua. It depends what type of oil lamp you're learning. Habba de mishcha, habba de nafta. I think naphtha is actually it's like a tar or something. It depends if it's an oil lamp or this pitch, this type of thing that smells terribly, so you won't adjust it. So you don't want to get close to it at all. So that would be allowed because you're not going to get close to. You're allowed to, so therefore you're allowed to check the cups to that light. Ibailu. Gemara has a question. You just gave me two answers. One is that if it's a shamish that's always staying there, that's a permanent shamish, so he's not allowed. Then he gave me another answer that if it's oil, it's not allowed, even if it's staying there. But if it's nafta, then it is allowed. So let's say you combine the two together. Well, not combine. You take one of the good and one of the negative from the other one. Shamish sheina kavua. Well, he's not going to do a good job anyway. He's not coming back. However, b'demishcha, but he's using oil. And oil is something that he may adjust. He'll get close to it and tilt the lamp, and that's going to cause burning on Shabbos. Mahu, is he allowed to do this? We're talking about he's a Jewish worker. Rav says halacha. The halacha is yes, he is allowed to, because he's a shamish sheina kavua. However, vein mayrin kain, but you don't tell him exactly that. It's called halacha vein mayrin kain. We're afraid that they may end up adjusting. Rabbi Yirmiyah barabar halacha mayrin kain. Rabbi Yirmiyah barabar says no. You're even allowed to tell him. There's no problem that he's allowed to use a lamp to look at the cups. We're not concerned that he's going to adjust it. Rabbi Yirmiyah barabar ikla lebei Rabasi. Rabbi Yirmiyah barabar was visiting Rabasi. Come Shamay. Now Rabbi Yirmiyah barabar, when he was visiting, he had his own shamish that comes with him. He had a servant. Kabadak l'nahira d'shraga, and he was looking at the cups, looking at whatever it was, the plates, to the light of a candle. Amrulay debisu. So Rabasi's wife says to Rabasi, Marlay avidhachi, you don't do that. You don't let. That's how she speaks to her husband, the Mar, with like the Rav. She tells her husband, the Rav, it's cute. The Rav doesn't do that. So Amalei Shavke, leave the Shamish alone. Karabi Sirle, he holds like his master, which is Rabbi Yirmiyah Barabba, who holds that Shamish Sheina Kavua is allowed to use he's just visiting. He doesn't care to do such a good job. So he's not going to look so carefully. Okay. Let's go a little further. Be'emes Amru, the Mishnah said that you're not supposed to read to the light of a candle. In truth, they said, which means that's halacha, that the chazan is allowed to look where the children are reading, but he is not supposed to read. So it goes like this. Ba'amrit Reisha. Originally you said, Roya, that he's allowed to look. What does it mean he's allowed to look? There's the light of a candle there. He's allowed to look at the book. That means, my love likros. That means he's reading. Then you went ahead and said, but he's not allowed to read. So you said he's allowed to look, which we thought meant that he's allowed to read. Then you said, but he's not allowed to read. So the Gemara answers, like, what he was allowed to look was Lasada Rasha Parshi Yosef. He was allowed to see the titles. So, in other words, the chazan was going to call people up the following day. And he would, in those days, when you would call someone up to an aliyah, that person would read. So the chazan, was the gabbai, would need to tell them where to start. So he was allowed to look at the titles, like, Amen, or whatever. He was allowed to look and be able to assist the guy, the new reader, to tell him what he should read from. And maybe it would help him also. But because the gabbai knew it well, so once he has the beginning, that would be okay. He's allowed to check where the aliyahs are going to start. He's not reading it carefully. That he would possibly adjust the candle. But he's allowed to just give a glance to see where it starts. But he's not allowed to, or maybe Bekula Parshalai, but not the whole Parsha. Meisvei. 1 second, we have a question here. A Braisa. Shimon ben Gamliel Aimer, it's a Tosefta. Shimon ben Gamliel says, Hatineka shel Beis Rabbanai Masajin Parsha Yosef v'Koyin la'Arner. The children are allowed to read. Then the chazan's probably also going to read together with them. Gemara says, Iba Yasem Rashi Parsha Yosef. Maybe what it means, the children, they read, that they're also only reading the titles. There's a difference. The children are reading, they have a teacher over them. They would never step out of line. In those days, the teachers would hit. So they wouldn't move their hand, they'd get a whack. So they're not going to adjust it. The teacher doesn't have a teacher on top of him that's going to give him a whack if he tries to adjust the candle. So he's not allowed to read. The children are, yes, allowed to read. I read once in a biography of one of the Gedolim that maybe it was a Ben Ish Chai. He would have Friday night his daughter sit with him to remind him that, because nowadays we don't realize this concern. We have electric lights, but which don't get adjusted by us. But those days you couldn't learn Friday night, so you'd have to have someone with you that would sit there and to remind you. So we'd have his daughter sit with him to learn with him Friday night. Okay, let's leave it over here. Everyone's doing okay, hopefully.
Thank you, Rabbi Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you all. Rabbi. Thank you all, Yishakayach. Have a wonderful, healthy day.
Amen. Everyone be safe.
Okay, yeah, I have to do one thing here. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I just have to figure out how to become the host. I'll figure this out. Have a good day.